Nelson, and you are listening to the Starting Block Podcast. Guys, this is a show for complete athletic development. Our mission here is to give you guys the tools to win, whether you are the athlete, the parent, or the coach. Now, if you are new to our show, just want to say welcome. We got a lot of new listeners joining the program, and I'm stoked about that, and I appreciate you guys sharing the show and joining us. So if you're new, let me tell you how our show operates. We're a little different than your standard podcast, all right? We have multiple episodes within the show. The first episode you're going to hear is the Q&A. That's where myself and my co-host, Chris Scarborough, what's up?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. That's where Chris and I will come on and we will answer the questions that you submit to us. These questions you can submit to us where, Chris?
info@startingblockpodcast.com. And just a reminder, there's no "the" in Starting Block Podcast. Our website is startingblockpodcast.com.
Yep.
And our email is info@startingblockpodcast.com.
Yep. So info@startingblockpodcast.com. You can submit your questions there. You can also put them on YouTube. So we're on YouTube. We're on all audio platforms. You can just leave a comment there, and we'll be happy to answer them on the show. So that's your Q&A. The second episode we have is going to be our guest interview, and this is like your standard podcast, for the most part, where Chris and I are going to bring in our colleagues from across the country and across the globe, and they're going to share their stories of how they win and their tools for success with their clients, patients, etc. And that's what today is. We'll bring our guest on here in just a second. And then the final episode is going to be that Friday Fire Fact, maybe Saturday sermon. I don't do these episodes every week. We do them every couple weeks based on just the quality of information that I feel like I want to share. I'm not just going to put info out there to put it out there. I want it to be beneficial and give you guys something to build on. And that Friday, Saturday episode is not necessarily training related or rehab related. It's more the business side of stuff, the social media, the recruiting, things of that nature. So that's how our show operates. We already gave you the website and all that. We also ask that you please share the show. That's how we grow this. We're not running ads or anything at the moment. And all we ask in return for the info we give you is just to share the show. So that cleans up all the housekeeping, I think, Chris. I don't think I left anything out, did I? I think we're all set there.
We're ready to go.
All right. So, without further ado, today we are pleased to welcome Mr. Adarian Barr to the show.
Woo!
What's up, man? Oh, you're on mute still.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, we'll try that again. Welcome to the show, Adarian Barr. What's up?
Hey, not a whole lot. Just my usual stuff. Just on Instagram, whatever. Just usual stuff. Trying to get ready to go to Europe.
Oh, cool.
Tomorrow morning. So I got some clinics coming up over there this week, next week.
You say you have some clinics coming up over there?
Yeah, I got one in Galway, Ireland on the 15th, and then I have one in Copenhagen, Denmark on the 20th, and then one in Verona, Italy on the 23rd.
Awesome.
22nd and 23rd.
So for those of you who don't know who Adarian is, Adarian is, I'm going to prop you up here, okay? Adarian is a huge name in our industry, a real outside the box thinker. He is one of the world's greatest sprint, speed, track kind of movement coaches. You still have your company Barr running, correct? Is that right?
Yeah, we still have. Well, yeah, we have Barr running,
okay,
but we operate under a different name now. I mean, we operate under 9 Brains now.
Okay.
Named after octopus, because octopus has 9 brains, one for each tentacle plus a main one. So to control movement, so we switched over. We think that's more suitable.
I already learned something.
That
didn't take long. All right. and he's also an author too.
Yes.
Make sure I get that one out too. Yeah. And I got about halfway through your book. I was hopeful I'd be able to get it finished before we met with you. But the book is available. I bought mine on Walmart, but it's available. Is it available everywhere, Adrian or Darren?
Yes. Though like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, pretty much any book retailer. Sometimes I'm surprised where it's available at, and it's pretty much available worldwide. Japan, Australia, India, Ireland, Spain. It's pretty much available. It's not. It hasn't been converted to other languages yet, but it's available. Yes.
Awesome.
And hardback, paperback, and ebook format.
Awesome. Yeah, so guys, check it out for sure. It's good. Like I said, I'm about halfway through it, and it really, like I said, it's out of the box thinking. That's great. It's kind of just like us. But so I've started following Adarian. I've known about you for a while. Followed your stuff periodically, but Chris has really dove into your stuff quite a bit. And yeah, Chris, how did you connect with Adarian and like et cetera?
Honestly, I don't even remember. It was before the whole COVID shutdown thing. And I remember.
I thought you were gonna say shit.
Well, yes, that as well. I will go ahead and say that. Yes, the COVID shit. Yes, we can really have some fun if you want me to go down that rabbit hole, man.
But I'll tell you what, I don't think I ever saw anybody who took more arrows from the Sprint establishment. I don't know if there is such a thing, but I was like,
Yeah.
this guy's just taking a ton of arrows, and I'm like, so he must know what he's talking about. So I started, looking at stuff. I went through your basic 4
modules,
levers, and the various courses there,
right.
and I was like, this is good stuff. I mean, what is there here to argue about? I wasn't even sure. I was like, where's the controversy? So we started getting into the controversial stuff, and it was like, you start looking at, especially, and don't misunderstand. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the Ralph Manns of the world. I mean, he clearly was an elite level competitor and very good biomechanics author, in his own right. But I'm like, there were people coming, especially from that camp and Franz Bosch camp, and they were just attacking Adarian. I'm like, this guy must know what he's doing. So I'm like, he sounds
Adarian,
like my kind of guy. So
for our listeners that are getting to know you, right? Like I know a lot of people that are following from my side of it, have heard me talk about you, but share with them kind of your underlying philosophy and your approach to stuff, and then we'll dig from there.
Well, my underlying philosophy is it shouldn't be this hard to be better.
I like
Simple
that.
as that.
Okay.
It shouldn't be this hard to be better, and so that's the whole thing. But I understand money, and so simple doesn't sell. Complication sells. Just like I tell people, why would you go to the same place 10 years in a row to learn how to skip? Why?
Yep.
You didn't learn it the first time, So, but they complify it, and that's my word. Complify. I made that word up, but that's what they do instead of making it simple.
You are an acclaimed author now, so.
But that's the whole thing, and so like for me, even when people will come at me and say I don't understand physics, but I'm the guy talking about levers. Like what do you mean? But I think part of that's just that some people say I don't give exercises, and I do. I just charge for them. I just don't do it for free. And so people get mad about that. People get mad because they want me to, spell it out for them, and I did. Like I tell people, if you're sprinting, you're not tall. You're squatted. It's just that simple. But you want to spend all this time what I call unicorn training. We imagine unicorn, but we're never going to see a unicorn. You're never going to see anybody run tall. You won't. But we keep training for it and keep training for it and keep training for it. Makes no sense to me. That's why nobody's getting better, because what you were doing naturally that made you good, you got away from it. Mm-hmm. And then we wonder why people are getting hurt. Why this is happening? Well, because you made it hard instead of keeping it simple. And so even why when I talk about rotations and things like that, even like shin angle change and stuff, and people say now at first nobody talked about shin angle change. Now they are talking about shin angle change. Now they're saying it's the horizontal component, but it's not the horizontal component. It's just getting out of the way so the hip can come through. It's like opening a gate. If the shin gets out of the way, the hip can come through. If it doesn't get out of the way, then the hip can't come through. It's simple stuff again. But they want to that's the indication. No, it's not indicating which way the force is being applied. It's just getting out of the way. But that's too simple. See, that's what, a 2-minute clinic?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's $4,000 now, please.
Yeah.
$4,000, 2 days, and let's go drink. That's what it's going to, yeah.
But honestly, though, I know you say you don't give exercises, but I've seen you put a ton of stuff on Instagram.
I do. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I do. They just don't recognize it because I don't say this is an exercise.
Right.
You know, I do. I get plenty of exercises out, you know, but I don't organize in the program to go A, B, C, D, E. But to me, it's like it shouldn't be hard to really program. Program to me is like the easiest thing ever invented. You know, if you want to work on this, here's the exercise. If you want, here's the exercise. You know, I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to put a program together. But most people, but yeah, remember too, most people don't work on technique. And my definition of technique is, what am I doing it? How am I going to do it? And when am I going to do it? Most people, once again, are just out there saying, hey, I'm going to work on my knee lift. Okay, cool. And they go out there and they sit up wickets and they work on their knee lift. Okay, how'd you lift your knees? When did you lift your knees? When did you stop lifting your knees? So the technique isn't there. It's just wishing and hope it works out right, which is why that inconsistency. One day you run this way, one day you run this way, one day you run this way. Why? Because you never knew the time to do something. You knew what to do. You probably knew how to do it, but you never knew when to do it.
Right.
You know, that's like missing dinner. You know, I know what's cooking. I know mom cooked. I know what she cooked. Late.
Or would you say you de-evolved out of it? See, my theory, and I've gone on record saying this multiple times, like I firmly believe that like we are seeing the de-evolution of human society. Like kids can't move, people can't move. We don't do what we were supposed to be doing as humans. And the further we get away from that, the further we get away from health. And so it's like our brain knows how to run. Like it's a program that's in our nervous system. We know how to do it, but it gets all jacked up because everybody wants to always be fixing something or trying to get you to move a certain way. Your body knows how to move, knows what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, and like I said, that's why even, you know, it's funny, like I said, why we switched over to the name Nine Brains, you know, after octopus, you know, and to think about the power that each tentacle has a brain. I mean, that's power there. That each tentacle has that's how much power it takes just to move. That this one tentacle has its own brain. That's crazy stuff, you know. And we kind of in the same way where we have two brains, really, left half and right spear. One's on one side, one's on the other side, you know, and all this other stuff going on. But yes, you know, but people want to do things like, and that's why I tell people too, it cracks me up when somebody says, you know, my glutes are not fired, because your brain didn't need the glutes. It's not dumb. You know, it's not dumb. It didn't need it. So if it didn't need it, it's not going to use it. But what is and that's where things go wrong. I want to use my glute. It's like, how are you just going to use your glute only? Tell me that. Show me that right now. Mm-hmm. Just use your glute only. The only muscle you're going to use on this next exercise is your glute. Them other three around there, no, I'm going to just, it's craziness, you know? So, and I think, you know, even like I think with elite athletes, what I think happened is this here. Why can't elite athletes, you know, show us what to do? Because I think in the biggest scheme of things, they got the timing right. You know, swinging a bat is swinging a bat. You know, we all gonna swing a bat the same way, same muscle, same everything, same tool. But the timing of when to swing that thing is what Ken Griffey knows that I don't know. What a Tony Gwynn knows that I don't know. And so that they can't, but they leave clues behind about some of these things, and we refuse to learn from them because we say, well, they're just genetic freaks. Ain't nothing to learn here. So then we go and make up something. You know, me, the guy on the couch with a big beer belly, goes and make up something, and then I'm going to charge you $4,000 for what I just made up. And you go, what about them? Well, they don't know what they're doing. They can't. They just freaks. They doing it wrong, but they're freaks. That's why. You know. I think that becomes the thing. Like you said, we want to make it up, just like with kids. You know, I mean, think about this. And I always thought it was strange. You know, when I see kids playing tackle football at the age of 9. And they condition these kids.
Easy. We live in the South, man. Like, I know you're out in California, but, like, football is a religion out here, bro. So
it's still out
be
here.
careful.
But this whole thing, last time I checked, a 9-year-old has all the energy in the world. You don't need to condition a 9-year-old. Let them go play. Hey, put the ball out there.
Preach.
Line them up and let them play. Let them figure out where they want to play it. Let them figure out how to throw the ball. Let them figure out how to catch the ball. Kids ain't never had a problem tackling anyone, right? I mean, we've been tackling. What's the first thing a kid does? Tackle someone. So let's let them play again. Let's let them play. Let's teach them the game. How about we teach them the game? But let them play. And so we spend time to condition them, but we don't spend time teaching them how to play the game. That, to me, is the problem.
So let's kind of back up just a little bit, because this is kind of where, kind of about, Adarian and taking a whole bunch of arrows. If you were to pick one thing, okay, well, maybe two. Let's go with two. what are the two things that, like, this is like the whole world of track and field coaching just goes after Coach Barr on. I mean, it's like, I know shin angle has kind of come
Oh,
around, and people are now beginning to come around that whole
yeah,
concept. But what are the big deals?
right. The biggest deal is me saying squatted running.
Okay.
That's the biggest deal. That's the biggest deal. And it's kind of, once again, kind of simple to me. I mean, think about French Bosch. Everybody spent all this time trying to get erect. And that's what you got to call it, erect running, because anything else is squatted. Like I tell people say he's taller than the other guy. If you squat down a quarter inch, you're squatted. Period. If you squat down, I mean, think about even and it's funny, think about lifting. What they call it, that's a quarter squat. That's not a full squat. But all of a sudden in running, that's not a quarter squat anymore. That's tall. Why did it switch? Why did it switch over in weightlifting? It was a quarter squat. You didn't squat far enough. Over in running, oh, that's tall. No, that's a squat still. But the whole thing about it is this here. Think about this here. And this what gets in trouble too, because people say I go in circles. I don't go in circles. Let's ask questions. You want me to push? My legs extended already. How do I push? And they can answer the question. You say you want me to put out more force. Tell me how to put out more force. They can't answer the question. You say tell me how to do these things you want me to do, because the way you got them going, it's not happening. And I think that's the biggest problem is that, when you pin them down, you start asking questions, they can't answer the questions, And so like let's talk about, I have an athlete that's been working on pushing for 10 years, still hasn't mastered how to push. Either I'm wrong or they're wrong. Somebody's wrong. But the athlete hasn't mastered how to. I mean, think about this. You've been teaching a guy how to throw the ball for 10 years, how to be a quarterback for 10 years. He still can't throw the ball 5 yards. What are you going to say? Either I'm bad at teaching you how to throw the ball, or you suck as a quarterback.
Right. It's one or the other.
And most likely, I'm going to say you suck at a quarterback because I can't take the blame for the last team. But I collected my money. I got my money. But I can't say, hey, I'm not. I got to give you money back because I was wrong. I suck at this. That's not going to happen. But that would be it. I mean, the biggest thing would be that. Then the next thing would be feet. People, but feet has got to be, simple and stuff. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. And because the argument is this here, and this is always the funny thing. If you're a distance runner versus a sprinter, and this is where you get into the book collisions and stuff like that. This is what the book is about. We have what they call extended collisions and non-extended collisions. So as a sprinter, I want to land it in a squat position because that is a short collision, which means I'm getting maximum back out of whatever I just did. As a distance runner, I'm not trying to take all that pounding. So a distance runner is not going to land in a squatted position. A distance runner is going to yield or extend the collision after they hit the ground. A sprinter isn't going to yield. And so people say, well, you're talking about that he's squatting. I didn't say he's squatting. I said he's squatted, which means he's already done when he hit the ground. So people won't listen to the words because they would say, you're saying he's yielding? I didn't say that. If you're a distance runner, you're going to yield. If you're a sprinter, you're not. Right. But they can't get that picture out of their head that this person is not on a straight leg. Their torso's not upright. The torso's pitched forward. The thighs pitched. Everything is. But you have to understand why that's happening in the first place. And so if you don't understand rotations and levers, you can't wrap your mind around why that's in the first place. And you go picture, like I said, you see me post picture after picture, sprint after sprint after sprinter. Even field event athletes, football player, basketball player, rugby player, everybody's what? In this squatted position.
Well, the one thing that I think really caught my eye with your stuff was really looking at the starts at a combine. I want to say it was like 2018 or 19 or somewhere in there. Right. And we're analyzing the starts, and it was like, yeah, they don't triple extend. The best runners don't triple extend.
Don't triple extend. Yeah, them slow guys, they triple extend.
Yeah. So it's like they're jumping out versus trying to, and then they end up being in very poor position as a result. So, that's definitely one of those things that we've totally gotten away from. As we can show example after example after example of an elite sprinter who does not triple extend, or for that matter, a baseball player or a football player or whatever.
Or yeah. I mean, even like with like I always tell people start. But even like with baseball people, when you see the best base stealers have a false step, and then people say don't do that. Like, why wouldn't you? The best base stealers false step. But you have to understand what a false step does. It sets you up to accelerate really fast. And as a base stiller, I don't have time. I got to get going. So here's something that really sets you up to get going really fast in a hurry. And people say, I don't want to do that one there.
Right.
I want to do something else. Okay, but even Pete Rose, who wasn't a fast dude, but he could steal some base.
Right.
False step. Lou Brox, Ricky Henderson. I mean, the best base stealers. And I think that's what we get into this thing of. I don't get it. Like I said, I don't get why we see that, and then we want to invent something else. That's the part I don't get. No matter what it is, I don't get why we see like I said, we see this shin angle change, and we say positive shin, set at a positive angle. No, this thing's going to change, and then they say, well, let me just start here. No, you don't want to start from nothing. You got to start with something. You got to start with something, but don't start from nothing. So you get into that there and everything where people get into these things about wasted energy, you're going to get hurt. And that's usually the biggest thing people say to convince you of anything. You're going to get hurt doing it that way. Right. I mean, you look at, injury rates at NCAA. The injury rate is 3%. All them athletes, 3% of athletes get hurt, but we dedicate it to what? Preventing injuries. No, let's look at the other 97% that's not getting hurt to try to help you 3%. But let's not look at the 3% and try to say these 97% are going to be in the same boat. No, but what can I mean, injuries are complicated. So guess what? I can sell you a program, on injury prevention that I'm going to make a whole lot of money on, that we're going to, but I think that becomes a lot of it too. It's just me asking the question. A lot of people just didn't, because I tell people I'm not here to affirm your beliefs. And that's a lot of times what people want to do is affirm. I'm not here to affirm your beliefs, and that's what people want. They go to the clinic to affirm. I mean, think about that. You go to a clinic because you have all these people in the clinic that think the same way you think. Now you feel good about your program. You go back and your kids lose. But you go, hey, everybody at the clinic's doing it this way. No.
Keep preaching. I'm trying to let you go, but you're getting me fired up here. Yes, you're absolutely right.
So let's paint a picture just very quickly about that.
Actually, I want to go back. I'm going to interject real quick, Chris. I want to go back to one concept because Adarian, we have coaches that listen as parents, but we have a lot of athletes that listen to it as well, and that's one of the goals of the show is for the athlete too. Like I think in our industry, so many coaches talk coach to coach. Like talk to the athlete for a second, like because they hear triple extension all the time. Especially when you have these kids that go, from high school up to like D1, SEC, ACC. Yeah. What's happening instead of triple extension so they know this?
Well, first, this is one thing I'm going to say. I'm going to say a couple of things, and then I'll get on that. First thing is don't be afraid to fire your coach. That's the first thing. Don't be afraid to fire. I'm sorry. That loyalty is ass shit because that person making a lot of money off of you, and you're not getting what you're supposed to be getting. So don't be afraid to fire them. Don't be afraid to shop around. Don't be afraid to even challenge them and ask questions. The second thing is this here. This is what's going on. You have this movement, and you have rotation happening. And so as you move, you have the foot that wants to rotate. The foot wants to rotate. Then the tibia wants to rotate. Then the hip wants to rotate. So you have all this rotation going on. What most people are doing is reversing that rotation, no matter which way you're doing it. If you triple extend, you just reversed in the wrong direction. So your body's trying to rotate this way. It's like you tried to backpedal the other way. That's about as simple as you can make it. You're going in the wrong direction with triple extension. Everything should be going in the same direction. And so, but once again, a lot of stuff people talk about, people have never seen. A lot of people have never seen. But think about this. If the majority of athletes don't triple extend, where do they see it at?
They're going to see it at the knee. Well, they're going to see it in a track person. They're going to see it in the knee. They're going to see their knee. If they're triple extending, they're going to see their knee pop up away from the ground. That's going to be the one spot, but they're also their hips is going to pop up too.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though, I mean like this here, think about the concept of running tall. If 99.9% of athletes are running squatted, when did you see somebody run tall? You never saw it. So now what you see as somebody running squatted, now you imagine that as being tall. So the question is really, and that's what I try to work on, is reshaping that vision. We have to reshape the vision of this is what's really going on. This is what you're really seeing. You're not seeing that triple extension over here, but you see this movement, and this movement. You don't see that other one unless you did in a drill where somebody was in a drill saying this is what it is, but then when you get to the race, it's not happening. You know, and I think that's the biggest thing we have to do. You know, so even to the high school athletes, parents, and coaches out there, is what do I try to do? I try to restate the vision that you're seeing, and explain to them. Go watch a lot of video. Go watch video and see if what you just saw. And don't let them get away. That's what I said. They got to fire people. Don't let them get away with that guy's a freak. Don't let them get away with that, because that's usually the biggest thing they say. That guy's a freak. Don't pay attention to him. And so you have to go in that thing and get people to think for themselves, you know. So yeah, but what they should see is rotation. That's what they really should see, is rotation. You see a lot of rotation. The more rotation you see, the faster you're going to be. Simple, you know. And it has to be rotation in the right direction. You don't rotation in the wrong, just like same thing. If your torso's pitching forward, that means it's rotating forward. You're going that way. You don't want your torso to start pitching backwards. It's rotation in the wrong direction. It's just rotation in the wrong direction. It's not agreeing with which way you're trying to go.
Right. Makes sense. One of the things that, by the way, I want to paint the picture going.
John, did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I just want the
Go ahead, Chris.
I want the audience to, you know, we're talking about the false step in baseball, because I want to make sure that we're clear on which foot is doing the false step. So let's somebody going first. I mean, seriously, because they're going to be like, wait a minute, I never. So we'll make sure we get the right foot that's false stepping. So I'm on first base.
Yeah.
I've got, so my right foot is closer to second. My left foot is closer to first. It's going to be the one that's closer to second that's going to be doing the false stepping.
Right.
Watch that foot being pulled up under the body. And by the way, you'll see the exact same thing if you look at someone dive for a ball. You'll see the exact same thing. You'll see that foot come underneath the body, not step forward.
Right. Well, also too, like I say, what I call a false step is really what's going to happen is just that the foot's going to get picked up and get put back down. It's going to. So sometimes people think stepping backwards is a false step. That's just a back step to me. That's not a false step, you know. But you know, you see it in some track. You know, last year the female, I can't remember her name, but she was from one of the countries. She ran the best time false stepping in blocks. Sha'Carri Richards false steps in blocks. Elaine Thompson is false step. These guys are false stepping blocks, ran some very fast times, you know. But once again, what do people say? That's fluke my butt. She just false stepped and still whooped everybody. So how slow can it be, you know? But once again, people understand the false step is the fastest way to accelerate. You know, if you only going one step, is that going to be the best way to get there? No, but we're not talking about going one step. We're talking about going 10 yards, 15 yards, 30 yards. You know, we're talking about going 100 meters. So at that point in time, if you want to start accelerating, false step's the fastest way to get there. It's just simple as that. You know? And the thing about it is this, most of the time, you don't even have to practice it. Most of the time, you're going to do it anyways until somebody tells you not to do it. That's the whole problem, is that most of the time, once again, a lot of times people will ask me, you know, what can I do? And I say, stop doing that, stop doing that, stop doing that. Stop doing what you're doing. You'll go back to doing what you should have been doing.
The drills, the canned drills are the ones.
Canned drills, yeah.
The ones you try to stop.
Yeah, the coordination drills, the coordination drills that have nothing to do with, you know, it's like,
those same coordination drills that we do forever and never improve on. Yeah, those.
Wait, but this is the funny thing. This always just cracks me up. This cracks me up. You go to a sporting event. Let's say we had a sporting event where there's rugby going on, basketball going on, football going on, baseball going on, track going on, softball going on. And what's the whole problem? Every single sport's doing the same warm-up drills.
Right.
Yeah.
How did that ever happen? Every different sports, different requirements, everybody's doing the same warm-up drills? Get out of here. That's craziness. Right. Everybody?
But if it gets accepted, you know, then, you know, if that's sort of accepted to be the norm, then there you go. There's the reason why.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they're picking it up.
But guess why?
Not, you know.
Yeah. But guess why I got accepted? Because we're lazy. You know, it's easy for me to teach the masses one thing than to try and teach this individual, that individual, that individual, or what's good for this sport. You know, it's easy for me to just have one routine, especially you're talking about, let's go to the high school setting or college setting, and you're a strength and conditioning coach. You got 6 sports. You're going to come with six warm-up routines or just one? And then what are those kids going to do? Go back and feed it back to whoever they're going to feed it to. Who are they going to feed it to? Down back to the high school. You know, they go see their college, they go see the high school coach and say, hey, we got this. So it gets fed down that way. But that's what it is. It's just, I don't have time to do this, you know. So But yeah, those forever warm-up drills we keep on doing, and it's like, you know, and nobody, you know, even I crack up with running is this here. This is the most funniest thing.
So let's move on to the feet for just a minute, because clearly that
Okay.
is a big deal. You know, that's John is heavily involved in
Yeah.
working with that, and so
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen you in a video where you're wearing shoes at all. So that's so clearly you practice what you preach.
Okay. Please
Yes.
expand on that, because
on
yes,
where
Well,
I
you
take
know.
so much heat for that. So much heat
Yeah.
for not wearing shoes. So
I don't like shoes. I just have to wear them, you know. But at the same time, I just look. It's the easiest thing. Let's keep it simple. Shoes to me is just temporary ground attached to your feet. It's the ground that moves with you. That's all it is. So to me, whatever I was doing barefoot, and it's funny people talk about barefoot training, but they're not doing anything. But they just took off their shoes. You know, once again, somebody complicated something. Hey, I'm gonna teach you how to train barefoot. No, just take off your shoes and you're already barefoot. There's no other instructions for this. But what happens is how your feet move, interact with the ground, is how you want them to move, interact with the shoe, because that's the new ground. And that's what people are missing out on. People getting this proprioception thing. And I'm thinking, like, since when do you think about this here? You know, if you see sharp glass ahead of you, do you wait to step on it to figure out it's sharp glass? Or do you go around it because you already know it's sharp glass? I don't need my feet to tell me what I'm stepping on. I already know what I'm about to step on. I don't need them for that. But people think for some reason the shoe's supposed to be x-ray, you know. I mean, like if you get into a car, proprioception is the coolest thing ever. If you get into a car, what happens? You extend your boundaries to that car. If you're on a motorcycle, you extend your boundaries to this thing. That's why you don't bump into anything. You know how close you can get to something because your proprioception is extended. It's not through your feet. That's through you, you know. So this whole even proprioception thing is a weird thing. Like the feet is the only thing that's supposed to have proprioception ability. No, the feet is pressurized and they feel pressure. And so if you have shoes on, it's going to detect, they're still going to detect you. If you stepped on a sharp object, it's going to tell you. You step on sand, it's going to tell you. You step on grass, you step on wet mud, it's still going to tell you what's going on through that shoe. Why? Because the pressure changed. That's all it is. But we'll make this complicated again. But it's funny, like I said, like there's a guy out there, he calls himself the barefoot sprinter. It's one of those things that's funny. He lives by me too. I'm waiting to go race him. I'm waiting to go like, oh, let's race.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see what's happening. You know, but it's one of those things. Like I said, my kids don't wear shoes. You know, my kids walk around barefoot. I walk around barefoot. You know, inside, outside doesn't matter. Ground hot doesn't matter until I have to go someplace where I have to put on shoes. Then I put on shoes. You know, or if the training or if the environment requires, like I said, you know, if I'm playing, you know, my son would play basketball in the driveway barefoot, but when he goes to basketball practice, he can't do that, so he puts shoes on. You know. So, and we don't have, you know, like I said, so it's one of those things that I've just been doing. I just don't like shoes. But I also understand that whatever I was doing barefoot, and that's what people don't recognize. You have to recognize, what are you doing barefoot? Because whatever you did barefoot, you need to do with the shoe on, because that's the new ground, you know? And so I think yesterday, my man, Zach came by, White Out You. He came by my house yesterday. And so, and we was talking about some things with the feet, and so you know, one of the things we was talking about was, and this is, you guys look, I'm gonna give you guys a brand new concept. This is hot off the press that nobody has yet, and so when people talk about opposing the thumb up as an opposing digit, what they're thinking about is, I'll put this on the screen. What they're thinking about is this opposing this,
right.
so you can grip things, right? But think about it as opposing rotation of the hand. It's a different day now. Think about it as opposing rotation of the hand becomes a different day. So if you're going to throw something, oppose. So if I'm going to grip something, people think grip this way. If you grip this way, then you oppose, you just locked it in. Different concept. So if you think about the feet too, as the big toe is going to oppose the rotation of the foot, different day coming.
Okay, yeah.
I'm processing.
Yeah, I do too. I'm feeling it. Yeah, I do too.
That's really interesting. You say that because I talk to people about the thumb a lot, because like there's a direct correlation with the musculature here and the influence on the elbow, and I've seen it happen. Like I've tweaked people's grips before on stuff, like particularly like baseball with their changeups. And I mean, there's a story. We had one kid who's throwing like 94, and we just changed the thumb position and opened it up, and it was like 97 in like 3 days. And so you're making me think about that. I like it.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like I said, if think about this. And I don't know, like I said, you guys can see this. I don't know if y'all can see it, but think about this way here. Most time people want to grip things like this here.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes for a weak wrist. That's the whole problem. Even though I'm gripping it this way, I'm gonna make this rotate, and I'm gonna make it oppose. Once I do that, see the wrist now is not weak anymore. If you just grip it, don't oppose, the wrist is weak. Same thing for the foot. You have to oppose the rotation of the hand, or use it to oppose the rotation of the foot. It's a different day coming.
And so you're saying the big toe is opposing the rotation.
Yep. And so yesterday we worked on it, and think about it this way here. And Zach was funny because Zach is fast. And so Zach, we in my street, we call it the ranch. We on the street, we're running and stuff like that. And so we have 4 situations where we talk oppose narrow, oppose wide, and in and out. And so when we say oppose wide, all that means is these are going to stay apart. That's a wide opposition. Oppose narrow is going to come in. That's a narrow opposition. So all of a sudden I say, hey, when you start off, oppose wide, that'll give you stability. When you get going, oppose narrow, instability. And so when he switched out from oppose wide to oppose narrow, he screamed because shit just took off. He was amazed at how fast the shit just. He was like, whoa.
So are you saying that when we're rotating through, the big toe is preventing us from what? Just excessively rotating?
No, joints are crazy. You got the 4 toes has 3 joints. Big toeing has 2 joints, so it's not as flexible. But what's behind the big toe? The first metatarsal. What's on the first metatarsal? The sesamo bones. They create the extra joint that the big toe doesn't have. So based on that, the big toe now, you can rotate around the big toe, but the big toe can also do its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So as I try to rotate, like I said, as soon as I try to rotate my hand, rotate this finger this way, the thumb's going to oppose it. When it opposes it, that gives the wrist its thing. If it doesn't oppose it, the wrist stays weak. So you got to think about it this way. So this finger is going to rotate one way.
For those of you listening on audio, like all of us have our hands up in the screen. So sorry, we're trying to figure this out here.
so take this first digit here and rotate it in.
Okay. Yep.
Now take the thumb and rotate it against it. And that's now you're opposed.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
So you can oppose. You can, like I say, even though I'm gripping something, I still can do that rotation.
Okay.
So that becomes part of it. And then you can do it, push-ups, sit-ups, a lot of things, but a lot of people, and that's what people get mad at me about, because I'm looking at this thing opposed. I'm like, yeah, but I think we get more out of it. If we just go, what if I oppose the rotation instead of opposing the digits, the grip? What if I say I'm going to oppose the rotation? Oh, and then they say, well, you just made that up. No, I didn't. I didn't make that up.
So what is it? What is its influence then on the arches?
Well, the influence on the arches is this here. It's not the influence on the arches up the chain. So just like you talk about the musculature here, it's going to, whatever happened at the foot is controlling the muscles up the chain. So what happened yesterday when Zach was running, as you oppose wide, it's like the outside. So now your glutes work, TFL, ITB, all those things work. When you oppose narrow, it switches to the inner thigh. So what muscles worked, switched.
Okay.
So you saw,
Chris.
He could instantly tell a difference though in his ability.
Oh yeah, it's like the video's so funny. Like I said, it's probably like a quarter mile down to the stoplight from my house. He's probably at that speed trying to slow down. It took him that long just to slow down. like he couldn't stop, and he's laughing the whole way because he just took off, And then we played with some combinations of it. Then we said, okay, let's do this here. Let's go. If you're a distance runner, let's go instead of in, let's go oppose out. So we're gonna go out instead of in. So that gives you a cruise speed. So then we come back and we say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Start off in wide to get going, and then go narrow. And then when we're cruise speed, go out wide. And sure enough, man, once again he can't stop. You can just see the gear changes as he goes through it. And so it's one of those things that we look at and things with feet. We haven't gotten to feet enough because all we thinking about is what? The arches collapsing, pronation of the foot, intrinsic muscles of the foot, where we're not looking at how the feet are controlling everything up the chain, just like these are controlling everything up the chain. And if I control them, that's one thing. Even when Zach was doing opposing, because we were throwing the ball, we was knowing how much more velocity we put on the ball. We did some tennis stuff. We noticed all of a sudden how much more firm the stroke was and everything like that. And he was talking about all of a sudden his forearms are getting to work out, because all of a sudden you done left the wrist alone and then you went into the musculature. So yeah, and even that, from one end to the other end. We serving ball. We did a lot of stuff. We serving volleyballs all of a sudden. Hey, oppose. We lifted weights. So we went through. He was at my house. We lifted weights. We played volleyball. We played tennis. We threw a football. We ran the street. All this stuff we did, just working on those concepts. And it was like, yo.
So let's discuss that for just a minute. The training environment. One thing you will never see Adarian Barr do, at least not one I've seen. Okay, and that is training some. I've never seen you train any place fancy. Okay, it's like I've seen you train with bricks, the homemade slings.
It's funny because well, I mean, you got to go back to when like I said, I was one of those kids. Like I said, when I was in high school, a lot of people don't know, but I was the state champion in triple jump, California, back in 1983.
Holy cow, Coach Barr, you're over now.
Yeah. So what's funny is I remember when I started to get really good in the triple jump, and you go back, you gotta go back to 83 when we didn't have all this stuff now. Weight rooms were still universal machines and all that kind of. You didn't have the squat racks and all everything like that. And so we didn't have social media, internet videos, and all that kind of stuff. So I remember when I started to get good, my coaches gave me a book on the triple jump because they said you exceeded our ability. At least they admitted it. They said whatever you're doing, you exceeded what we can teach you. Here's a book. Good luck. And so I never had anything fancy. I just had, me. That's all I had was me, what was around me and stuff like that. And so what? There's stadiums, I go do the stadiums. There's hills, I go do the hills. But whatever I had, that's what I dealt with. This is how bad it was. I remember my street. You remember how they have down the street, they had the lane dividers painted down the street. I didn't know how long each stripe was, but I would try and jump the stripes. So see what I'm saying? That's all I ever had was a challenge. Like, that looks kind of far. Let me go and try and jump. If I see a tree and a limb, let me see if I can. That's all I ever had was the environment. So that's what I'm still used to. It's just the environment I got. This is what I'm going to go with and stuff like that. And so it has nothing to do with, being cheap or anything like that. That's just the way I came through was like, this is the environment. This is what I got. This is what I'm going with.
I think the one that took the cake was the one where you hooked your heels under the car and made a Nordic hamstring curl. That was
yeah.
That's brilliant right
there. I've done that and stuff, and like I said, I started making equipment, and this is the other part too. Like I have my own equipment that I have people make for me, and reason being because the equipment I had is like, this is garbage, I don't care what they say. This equipment is garbage they're making and stuff. So I started making my own equipment, and not because I wanted to make money, because I just didn't like what was being offered to me and stuff like that. But in order to do that, I had to understand what I was doing in the first place. And I think that's what we had to get back to. Do we really understand what we're doing? If we really understand what we're doing, program's easy. Equipment's easy. We don't need, but I think the more we don't understand what we're doing, the more we get into all this other stuff of, like bands. Think about this. Foam rollers, right? Foam rollers just for foam rolling. Now what are we doing with them? Everything. I'm going to put them between my knees. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to put it on the wall. I'm going to step over it now. What are we doing? So that becomes part of it too, and think about even weightlifting. Muscles do something very simple. The body can really, I can extend, I can fold up, I can unfold. That's all I can really do. So why we have all these machines to do that very simple thing? Fold, unfold. It's an amazing, all these equipment we come up with do something very simple. Fold, unfold. That's all we can do. And so we got these things made up and stuff like that. So, but once again, I can charge you more money. If I got this fancy gym, I can charge you more money. I can make up more stuff. Even when I was a track coach, at the college level, my practice was an hour long. I didn't see the purpose of being out there for 3 hours. It was an hour. I'm done. I'm out of here. And people are like, what? I'm out of here. And then when we get to the meets and we jamming people up, they're like, what?
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. Come on, you gotta.
Yeah, that's what happened. But I think when I was a college coach, I told the kids that first of all, I want you to come to practice. And I think that if you only had to be here for an hour, you come into practice versus, man, I don't want to be in practice for 3 hours, you know? And so, because I'm telling, I appreciate your time. So I'm not trying to take up, I know you got to study. I know you got to socialize. I know you got all this stuff. I'm not trying to take up 3-4 hours of your day. I'm not, you know? So I'm going to take 1 hour of your day and let's go get this done.
And so
You know?
I want to ask you this as we're getting to the point where we're getting ready to wrap this up. You know, with so much information out there, right? There's so many in social media influencers. Then we got, you know, coaches, you know, we got bodybuilders, we got all kinds of kids have everything out there, all this information they're being flooded with. And again, another point of this show is to connect these families and coaches and athletes with credible sources, guys like you. So kind of closing thought, like what's the piece of advice you would give some of these athletes and coaches, like on how to attack getting better, getting faster?
The first thing is this here, you know, if you see 100 videos on YouTube on the same thing, leave it alone. Leave it. If you see 100 videos on YouTube, 1,000 videos on YouTube on the same thing, leave that one alone because that's common. See what I'm saying? If you, I mean, think about this here. When you look at the better athletes, they don't do what's common. You know, I mean, the better athletes don't do what's common and stuff like that. So you have to look at and that's why I tell them, just because you see 1,000 people doing it, don't make it good. It just means 1,000 people want to do this thing. You know, the other part too is this here. We got to ask more questions like, what results? Like people ask me a lot of times, what results do I get? You know, and it's like, well, this is the results I got. You know, they may not get you that results, but these are the results I got. And one of the first results I tell people is, nobody I work with is hurt. That's one of the first results I tell somebody. Nobody I work with is hurt or injured in all these years. So that's my first result.
It's a pretty good result.
If you're not getting hurt, then guess what? You can train consistently. So if and that's the other thing. If the first word out of somebody's mouth is injury prevention, I'm done already. By default, training should be injury prevention. It shouldn't be a specialty. It should be. Why are you training? I mean, think about this. What happened to weekend warriors? They get up, they go play on the weekend, they get hurt. Because why? They didn't train. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying you won't get hurt, but by default, you're training so you don't get hurt. You don't need to be, because now what are you doing? You're not working on your skill. You're working on not getting hurt. You're not working on your skill. So that becomes the other thing. But the biggest thing is this here, you know, really figure out, the person has to really know what skill they're trying to master. And find somebody that understands that skill. You know, if you want to play the bass guitar a certain way, you find the person that plays it that way, and you deal with them. You don't deal with the general bass guitar teacher anymore. Deal with the one that can teach you how to do. And I think that's the other part too, is that they really have to do the homework and investigate. Say, okay, you know, I really want to work on my sprint start. Cool. And the first thing that I tell people is this here: whoever you're working with, can they explain to you why you're fast in the first place, or why you're good in the first place? If I can't explain to you why you're fast or why you're good, then how can I help you?
Yeah, good point.
That's great advice.
So that becomes a thing. A lot of people don't know why they're good, but I should be explaining to you why you're good. You know, just like, you know, you hear me talk about, you know, 3 qualities, things like that, where I say, you know, this person has, you know, the force, the frequency, or the stride length. And I say, well, you have stride length, but you don't have the force, you don't have the frequency. So I know why you're fast, because you have stride length. So let me give you these other 2, I can make you faster. But if I don't know why you're fast, I might say, let me give you frequency, I'm going to take away your stride length. Well, I just took away your superpower. So really make sure the person understands why you're good in the first place. And we're not talking about you have to be a superstar good, but just whatever it is you're trying, whatever it is, everybody's good at something, you know. So why, you know, are you good at cutting? Why are you good at stopping? Why are you good at whatever it is? Why? Let the person, how can they coach you if they don't know why you're good? And it's got to be more than just force application. It's got to be more than that.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
I like it. Adarian, this has been, I appreciate actually you bringing some hot off the press info for us, man. Thanks a lot. You know, that makes me feel special. So first, thank you.
Hot off the press, you know. Yeah. So yeah. And people will listen to that and they'd be like, huh? Because they didn't want, because people, like I said, I have to tell people, read the book. understand rotations.
Yes.
Understand rotations because all you're doing. If you're and the reason people don't understand rotations is this here. They don't see the complete rotation. And so I tell people, if it moved 1 degree, it rotated 1 degree. Just like tick-tock on the clock. It ticked, that's 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, so forth and so forth. It doesn't have to go the whole way.
Right.
So that's what people miss out on.
Yeah, and I do want to encourage you guys. Like, if y'all do, and I'm not saying this because Adarian is on the show. I mean, the book is very, very good. I hadn't got a chance to finish it yet, but I would encourage you to read it. It's excellent. What's it called again, Adarian?
Let me introduce you. Tales of threesomes, levers, and movement.
Let's go. That's good stuff. Adarian, where can everybody find you, man?
Like I said, my website is 9brains.com. Like I said, named after octopus and everything like that. And then, like I said, I'm be over in Galway, Copenhagen, Rome, Italy, next couple of weeks. And then I think in May, Memorial Day weekend, I'll be in Louisiana doing a softball clinic down there. So.
Cool. Well, Adarian, it's been a pleasure to meet you and get to talk to you. And, man, appreciate everything that you do in our industry. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for helping me, take these arrows.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got so many in my back right now. I'm good, man. I'm right there with you, bro. We're good. So it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming on. I really do hope we connect again. I'll talk to you on social, and we'll connect again and do this another time as well. So, guys, remember, if you got any value out of this, share the show, guys. Show some support to us and Adarian. Share the show. Leave us a review. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Y'all have a great day.